this is what Minecraft looked like when I first started playing the game over 14 years ago, beta 1.7.3, better known to be the last real beta version of Minecraft, the real old school version of Minecraft. Because after this update, we got the updates going from 1.8 to all the way to the first release of the game being 1.0, better known to be the Adventure update. Probably the biggest update Minecraft has ever gotten. Why? Because not only did we get our first structures, being strongholds, villages, abandoned mineshafts, as well as new mobs, amongst which the Enderman, Ender Dragon, villagers themselves of course. We also got a major update to terrain generation, which is probably why people consider it so different from the previous version of the game. And with all that also came the evolution to combat, which also included sprinting as well as the hunger bar. Now, those were all very big, major, important updates. But most importantly, in beta 1.8, we got our first real version of creative mode, bringing a massive boom of creativity into Minecraft. Now, me personally, I was also very interested in that. So, when creative mode came out, I quickly went from being a survival player to being a creative mode player. There was a massive boom in the YouTube community towards building as well as map making, which led me to try and join a build team. Eventually, I stumbled upon the Noxcrew, who at that time were very popular for their game show called the Noxcrew Game Show, which has by now evolved into MCC and is still around. I originally signed up with the Noxcrew to partake in a project called Lands of Azera, which was supposed to be a Minecraft MMO server. The Lands of Azera also included a mini-series called Fable Hunters, which was a Minecraft machinima which took place in the world of Azera. And yeah, how I ever got in is still a mystery to me. To this day, I can still somewhat remember what I sent in as my build submission to join the build team. It was horrendous. I know for a fact it was horrendous. But quickly I gained more skills and was actually able to keep up with other people in the team. Sadly though, being quite young at that time, only 13, compared to the rest of the team, I very often found myself not being able to partake in a lot of things they were doing because I had to go to bed or to school or whatnot, and my parents were not gonna let me sit behind the computer until 1 o'clock if I had to go to school next day. So because of this, I very often joined partly for a little while and then left again. I kinda had to figure out what worked best for me. In the end, I ended up leaving the Noxcrew entirely. So it took me way longer than I'm willing to admit for me to find a singular clip on the Noxcrew channel where I'm actually in, which probably proves that indeed I wasn't around as much as I would have liked. But yeah, if you wanted proof, here's your little bit of proof, and do with that what you will, I guess. But yeah, what else can I say? So after that, I still continued building off and on again on my own, doing small little projects, most of which never saw the light of day, until a couple years ago where I finally made my first map, which was in a matter of seconds. And although it was quite a nice map, and if you haven't tried it, check it out. It's nothing too special. I put it together in about 2 weeks. And that's kind of where I led it. I wanted to work on an update, but I never got around to finishing it, as well as working on plenty of adventure maps I wanted to make, but none of them really ever got finished. As you can check in my channel history, where I did a little series on it, but that never really ended up taking off because, yeah, time and life is struggle. Having said all that, I do want to continue building in Minecraft. I do enjoy the game, I do enjoy building it, but I've noticed that I am very much lacking in skill nowadays. I still build like it's 2014, which is 11 years ago, and that is just so crazy to me. It is the hardest thing to accept in life. But yes, we are old now, and we still play Minecraft, so do with that what you will. Enjoy your existential crisis. Now, having said all that, I decided it was time for me to improve my building skills again. So I challenged myself to build one thing every day for the entire month of October to kind of really get back into building. Because I've noticed that there's a lot of new blocks, a lot of them which I'm not aware of, which I'm not using appropriately, and also new build styles, new ways to think about it, new ways to use the game. And very importantly as well, Axiom. Now, for those who don't know, Axiom is basically the bigger, older brother of World Edit, right? It is a powerhouse in what it's able to do. And I don't understand it at all. At least when I started this journey, that is. I still think I only touched like 10% of the surface, but we'll get into that later. I challenged myself 30 builds for this entire month, so that's what I did. Now let's actually get started on looking at what I did for this entire month. Honestly, the first week couldn't have gone better. I mostly used Pinterest to have a base to build upon, though I have to admit that almost every single day I built this week, I restarted and made something else because I was just not liking what I started on. However, I quickly found a bunch of new blocks that I haven't really used before, using the Axiom Gradient tool, which is honestly a very nice tool to have. During this time I also learned that Pill Oak is probably one of my new favorite blocks, and definitely in combination with Mangrove Woods, those two blocks just go together amazingly. Now, as part of the challenge, I made sure to not spend too long on any build. The whole idea I had is that these builds are kind of like sketches, so I didn't really do any interiors, and most of them never really got fully finished just due to a lack of time, or because I decided I was spending way too long on them and didn't really want to spend more time on it. So basically what I'm saying is I went with the YouTuber version of finishing things. As long as it looks good on camera, it's good enough for me. Having said that, I was really proud of some of these builds in the first week. Most of these were in a style that I've never really built in before or wasn't really comfortable with, so that's already like a massive W. I think I was mostly proud of the wheel I did on day 6, because not only did it help me a lot with like learning more about Axiom and stuff, it's also the first time ever where I really did something more voxel art based in Minecraft, and it turning out like this on my first attempt was just mind-blowing to me. Then day 8 happened, and I was honestly so disappointed in what I started making that I lost all motivation to make anything else. I was so disappointed in fact that I just instantly deleted the build. Now I do have the footage, but yeah, you're not gonna get to see that. Unlucky, better luck next time. Now, not only did that happen, the next day I forgot to start the recording. So that explains why the video started halfway through. Yeah, great start of the week. I did, however, manage to get mostly back in the flow very quickly, and I was actually quite happy with the results of the build from day 9. However, doing the ship from memory might not have been the best idea. I still think it turned out pretty good as well though, given the time spent on it, that is. I also loved the little bit of terrain I did, although I have always been quite good at doing anything organic or terrain related. The main reason I did it is just to experiment more with Axiom, although I did end up using World Edit for the leaves because I couldn't get them looking right with Axiom. But overall, I think the scene turned out really cool. Sadly, day 14 once again hit me with another failure. I wanted to make a hobbit hole, but I made the mistake of making the hole way too wide and not tall enough. But that's easy to say in hindsight. In the moment, sadly, I spent so much time just figuring out how to make the interior work that I completely neglected the outside, even though I wasn't planning to do the interior in the first place. So overall, very rough few days. Luckily, after day 14, I finally did feel like I was getting back in the flow again. Actually starting to experiment again with stuff I haven't done before, but also picking up some old techniques I haven't really been using for a while now. One build that I did that was really outside of my comfort zone was the office building. I've always been more into fantasy, so anything modern or even like steampunk, solarpunk is very new to me. The same was true for the build I did on day 3 actually. Thankfully, I just felt myself having fun again with these builds. Definitely after having the filter stamp still stuck in my mind, I was thinking about just building it anyways, but then on a different day. But that felt like cheating, or at least going against the whole goal of the challenge, right? So in the end, I decided against this. However, it was still kind of weighing on me. Luckily, I really got hyped again when I did this super cool stone golem design on day 19. Did that hype last for long? Who knows? We'll see. It in fact did not last very long, because my plan for day 20 was to make some kind of broken portal design, but about 15 minutes in I just gave up. And unlike the first week, where if something failed I'd instantly jump back in and try again, this time the weight of all the previous failures hit me and I just couldn't care less anymore. And I definitely felt that the next few days. In my opinion, the builds were mid at best, and none of them felt like the kind of stuff that I really wanted to be making. They all felt uninspired, which honestly sucked because the whole point of this challenge was to have fun and get back into building. It was never about making the best possible builds. So I just felt really shitty about all of this. But because of that, I finally started reflecting on everything I'd made so far, and I realized I've been way too hard on myself. Sure, I'm not anywhere near the top builders in the game anymore, nor Was I ever maybe, but that doesn't mean I'm bad, and being this negative about my own work would just reflect poorly on you guys as well. If I call all the builds I make trash and you actually think it looks good or even better than anything you could make, that would just bring you down, which is the opposite of what I want with this. So I decided to try and let go of the perfectionism. Who cares that I didn't like some of the builds? Who cares that I gave up a few times? I still put in the time and effort every single day, and honestly I think the effort I put in does show in the builds up to this point. So I finally stopped caring and got just back to it. I really loved the tent design I did. I used a bunch of the Axiom tools on it, including the gradient tool, and even though I changed the color at the end, which in hindsight might not have been needed, I was very happy with how unique it looked in the end. And that feeling kind of continued over to the next few days. Even though I was making things that were more in my comfort zone again, at least I was having fun. I wanted to start leading a bit into Halloween since it was getting closer, and in doing so I made this pumpkin garden, which honestly was one of my favorites. Some of the other builds I was doing at the end could have been better, sure, but honestly I didn't care anymore. Even if I had only 30 minutes for a build, I still enjoyed it, and I actually was focusing on the part where I was improving. And that is all that should have mattered in the first place. So to all of you I say, give it a shot. Try something like this. Whether you haven't played Minecraft in a while or just want to get better at building, I truly think there's no better practice than looking at books, concept art, or even Minecraft builds and letting you get inspired by those things. Making your own stuff. Even if it's just a sketch, even if it feels like it could be better, you can always go back and improve it later. If I learned anything from these 30 days, it's that it's really easy to look at your own work and think it's not good enough. But creativity and the quality of it is subjective. So why care about your own opinion when you can just make a video about it, share it with the world, and get roasted by everybody in the comment section? Now that would be living the dream. If you've made it this far into the video, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying something new. I really do want to try to do more videos and actually keep making content. I do enjoy it. It's just procrastination is a, it's a real thing, and it's a struggle. Now, having said that, if you enjoyed, please let me know either by liking, subscribing, commenting, whatever, you know the drill. But most importantly, if you have any suggestions on things I should be doing differently or things I should be working on or could be working on, please let me know as well, either here or in my Discord. I do really appreciate any feedback I'm getting. And if you have any suggestions, just, please tell me. Having said all that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed the format. I'm gonna try experimenting more with it. And hopefully there will be another video this time within, I don't know, a year or so? Let's try for a year. I think that's already a victory, right? Yeah, bye.